bandwidth down a little bit.
All right.
Okay.
We are live. Let's give it a couple seconds. Oh,
all righty.
It's already going.
There we go.
Sweet. Hello everybody. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, hello, Gun Nation. How is everyone?
How's everyone doing tonight? Good to see everybody. 1776 is on assignment. Unfortunately, he wishes he could be here, but ran into some conflicts. So we are holding down the fort this evening, and we are glad to see each and every one of you. Thanks for everybody who is popping in a little bit early, starting the conversation off, but it looks like people are starting to roll in. So we'll give it a couple of moments and let everybody get situated. Big Johnson, how the heck are you?
I am living the dream as long as you don't wake me up. What about you?
Well, just about the same. It was an adventurous day today. So had an interesting experience. Needless to say, and I won't go into the details for everybody out here, but I won't be doing any shooting for probably 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. So need a little time to heal a bit. I'll still have videos coming out, of course, but they might have less shooting, or I'll be visiting the shooting vault, so to speak.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm sorry to hear that, but you know, we've all been through it.
Indeed.
Or a lot of people have.
That's exactly right. So Big Johnson and I thought tonight would be a really good night just to focus on you guys and answer all of your questions that you have and that sort of thing. I know we had a couple of questions early on. Logan was really kind of knocking them out of the park early. So we thought we'd hit some of those. Now, one thing that Logan was talking about, and of course, we don't want to get into a huge caliber debate or anything like that, although this is always a good forum to talk about some of the different things that people really get into with shooting, and caliber is definitely one of them. So he was asking the question, which is better, 9mm or 40 caliber? Big Johnson and I thought it'd be a good idea to expand that a little bit and bring in some other popular handgun calibers, whether it be 380 or 45 or 357, and really not exclude anything 380, whatever, 38 special, whatever happens to be. And so we thought it'd be a good idea to talk about that and get everybody else's perspective. So Big Johnson, what do you think about calibers?
Well, I think, you know, it honestly comes down to calibers are a personal choice. I would never like, oh, that one sucks and that one's horrible. You know, I've always joked around with other people, you know, just to friends and stuff about, you know, you and other people about different calibers, you know, goofing around. But I say carry what you press, and, you know, whether it's a 22 long rifle you carry or a 38 or a 380 or whatever. Myself personally, I really enjoy 22 for just playing around. You know, but my preferred round is 9, and now I own a 40 now, and I've shot it. You know, I don't discredit it or anything like that, but I really love the 9 for capacity, I guess maximum capacity, and I just love the push of a 45. You know, I've been a 45 guy from way back, so 9 and 45 I would say are kind of my go-tos. That's personal.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I echo your sentiments. I mean, you know, carry and shoot what you're comfortable with and what you have fun with, and oftentimes what fits in your budget. Because, you know, as we start talking about some of the different calibers, and Dennis Jones was saying they're all good. My favorite is 357 SIG. I just wish I didn't have to buy it. You know, that's exactly right. There's a huge cost difference between some of the different calibers out there, and a lot of us have found and probably gravitated towards 9mm first because it's pretty fun to shoot. It's relatively light recoiling out of most firearms, but also it's pretty inexpensive and plentiful, right? Where some of the other calibers might be a little bit more expensive. I mean, you know, you guys know that I did the FNX 45 not too long ago, and that was a ton of fun. I mean, it's a neat gun, but that ammunition's expensive. I mean, it was whatever, you know, 22 to 25 bucks a box, and I think I was buying them by the 500 to try and save a little bit of money, but that was still basically 500 equated to 1,000 rounds of 9mm, pretty close to that. So that's a pretty significant expense.
And as you and I both know, the FNX 45 almost holds a whole box of ammo in, you know, 16 rounds is a pretty good amount of capacity for a 45. So yeah, and you tend to shoot it pretty fast and a lot. So,
Right. Right. And music lover was saying at the range a while ago, somebody was shooting 50 AE at $32 for a box of 20. And yeah, I mean, cost sometimes can be so prohibitive. I mean, some of you guys that saw my range video with Fort Scott Munition, love those guys. We were shooting, what was it, a 338 Lapua, and that's $5 a shot. So yeah. I mean, that to me is mind boggling. In fact, I looked at the guys and took 2 bullets and said, I'm keeping these because this is $10 you're never going to get back. You know, I mean, that's just wild.
Yeah. Well, and when I shot Pops's 50 cal, his Barrett, I think he told me they were 10 rounds, $10 a round or something like that. And I was like, holy smokes, that's a lot. I mean, when you start cranking that thing off, that's a hell of a lot of money. But I just think, for just all around, kind of the best case scenario, I think 9 is really hard to beat,
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. Now this kind of blends right into Sean M was saying carry gun size debate. I mean, we talk calibers a little bit, and I think we can kind of bleed these two together. First, let's stick with caliber for a moment or two for everybody out there. And people have started to suggest things, but if it's strictly for carry, if it's not for range, if it's not for competition, if it's not for just the fun of going and making some pew pew sounds, whatever it happens to be, if it's strictly for carry, what is your preferred caliber? Because some people are different.
Yeah. Mine's 9. So.
Okay. Yeah. And mine is as well. So I'll be curious to know if some people kind of go back and forth just a little bit. And as people are sharing their caliber preparation or preferred caliber rather, how about carry gun size debate? So carry gun size, that's pretty interesting. I know in the comments when I feature guns, maybe it's like the P365 or the Shield versus maybe the P01 or something like that. People have varied experiences with carry and preferences with carry. So, what is your preferred size to carry?
Well, I've had people actually tell me that literally on the comments of my video, they have told me that I am dumb for carrying a gun that big. But I prefer, my preferred is compact and larger. So compact to large size. But I mean, I'm a big guy, and I think that I dress around my gun, and, I wear shorts and a t-shirt, and I carry a large gun. And, I mean, I've been carrying this 19X, which is really a compact, but, it's got the full size grip. But hell, I've, carried bigger guns. So I think it's whatever you personally feel comfortable with. I think it's, I'm not one to beat up someone. I just think it's funny that they beat me up about that, say it's too big. But, hell, if you want to carry a shield, a pocket pistol, whatever works for you. And, whatever you're dressing, however you're dressing.
Gotcha.
What about you?
I tend to gravitate towards smaller guns, and a lot of that is convenience and concealability. I mean, oftentimes I'm wearing, like right now, shorts and a t-shirt. T-shirts untucked, and not super clingy to the body because I'm not real thin, but to a point where, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to keep the gun hidden. And in Kansas, you can walk around with a gun strapped to your side, and that's certainly legal. Open carry is fine. I'm adamantly against that. I mean, I prefer to not stick out in any way, shape, or form, and not have anybody, as best to my ability, be able to tell that I've got a gun on me. So, I prefer things like the Shield or even a subcompact, even something like a Glock 26 or whatever. But occasionally I'll carry my M&P 2.0C, and that's very comfortable, and it seems to conceal pretty well. I feel a little bit better about that during the winter with heavier clothes, but that's just me. So, I mean, 17 always says dress around the gun. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I like to dress being as comfortable as I possibly can. And so for me, smaller, lighter guns tend to follow that same mindset.
Yeah. And, when you're wearing your spandex stretchy pants, it's kind of hard for you to carry a really large gun. So
between you and Steven, yeah, Stephen was saying no skinny jeans. Trust my friend, I couldn't fit in skinny jeans if my life depended on it. So not a problem.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got to watch out for his skinny jeans. Well, but and or your parachute pants, because you'll have all those zippered pockets. You can, hide all your guns and magazines in.
My members only pants. Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Oh hell, man! Back in the day, I think I had every color of members only jackets. But that just shows I'm showing my age again. But yeah, I just think it all comes down. No, Stephen, you can't say no yoga pants because trust me, I'm a yoga pants admirer,
Oh
just
my.
not on men. But you know, it, like I just and I know that you've maybe had people say stuff, but when it comes down to even reviewing a gun or even commenting about a gun, I just think it's funny how people just jump on a bandwagon and just beat you up because you might not like that gun or that gun didn't work properly for you. That's why, God gave us different hand sizes, different body types and everything. And, hell, 31 flavors, man. I mean, that is not a joke when I say 31 flavors. Everybody can have and shoot what the hell they want to shoot.
Yeah, no, it's exactly right. And to kind of backtrack a little bit, Big Johnson and I were talking before the stream for just a few moments because Harry pointed out that Military Arms Channel put a post on his Instagram and his Facebook in regards to the P365 and his experiences. I won't share that. Watch the video or go out and take a look at his Facebook post, whatever. But I was more interested in the comments, and it got me thinking about a couple of things because some of the comments were great. People saying thanks for the information. Some people were sharing their experiences, whether positive or negative, because you're going to have a little bit of that. But then there were some that were incredibly disparaging, whether it be an attack on Tim with Military Arms Channel or an attack on the firearm or whatever. And it kind of got me thinking a little bit about that because Big Johnson and I have a little bit of experience with comments now, and we've been able to kind of gather and put some statistics together around what types of comments come into our channels. And it's been a fascinating study. So I'm curious to know with you guys, everybody out there in the crowd, I'm curious to know when you go to YouTube to watch gun videos, what are you doing it for? What's the purpose? What is it somehow purpose driven? Is it entertainment? Is it information and education? Is it trying to find the next thing you're going to buy? Is it feeling good about something you've already bought? I do that. So I'm curious to know what you guys use YouTube for, and Big Johnson, you as well.
I mean, I use YouTube for sometimes reviews on guns or to get other opinions, and definitely if I'm considering purchasing it, even gear. Hell, I've even looked at it for how-to stuff. It's just, it is a wealth of knowledge, but also I take a lot of it with a grain of salt. I don't look at it as the Bible or whatever that person says, that's the way it is. I just look at it as another opinion. And just like I have opinions, you have opinions. I mean, they're like assholes. Everybody has one. So we just need to kind of take this with a grain of salt and people don't need to be so serious about it. Matter of fact, on that particular video that Harry and I did on the 365, and I'm not lying about this, Harry sent me the comment. This guy actually said we were white supremacist rednecks.
That was the first thing going through my head.
Yeah, I was like, because we said firing pan, because I have an accent. And he said, it's pen, not pan, not pan. He said it sounded like we were saying pan. And I'm like, really? I mean, good Lord. So I don't know what that was about, but I just, I just think it's a little ridiculous. And like I said, I take all this stuff with a grain of salt. If you're an idiot, I'll launch you. But, it is what it is. So what do you
well, I'm going to respond to the pan comment here in a moment, but Gerald is asking, he said, speaking of assholes, we're 1776. Couldn't have said it better, my friend. He is on assignment this evening. Unfortunately, he will be back next week as long as everything goes well. So we definitely miss him. So going along with that, and for me, again, I watch videos for a variety of different reasons. Oftentimes, I've picked up a firearm, and it might be very new, and sometimes there aren't very many videos out there. But other times, even like the FNX 45, there are gazillion videos out there because it's been out for 6, 7, 8, 10 years, whatever it is. And I wanted to watch some videos and not only learn a little bit about it, perhaps that I didn't know, but also just kind of get some different perspectives. But that leads me to the next question for everybody out there. As you're going out to YouTube and you're watching videos, everybody probably has a favorite channel or 2 or 3. I mean, obviously Big Johnson and I, but other channels as well. And so do any of you watch a video on a gun you're interested in? And let's say it's your favorite channel, whoever it happens to be, and they say some things that are not so good about the gun, or there's some concerns, or they had a couple of hiccups, perhaps it had a couple of malfunctions. Do you immediately write off that gun and say, forget it, I'm going to the next thing? What do you do with that information? And the reason I'm asking, I've read some of the comments on some of my videos, specifically around like the 365, because it's gotten a lot of attention lately. And there are people who literally have left comments that said, first video I've watched, you said it has peening issues, I'm not going anywhere near it. And it kind of, I was curious about that. I thought that was very interesting. First, nobody should take my word as gospel on anything. I mean, I'm one guy with a sample set of one. Big Johnson, I think you're the same for the most part. And although we have our opinions and our experiences, and they're valid, they're experience of one person with usually one device, and that's it. It should not be gospel. So I'm curious to know what everybody thinks about that as well.
Yeah, and kind of like I was talking about earlier, I watch that video or watch a video on whatever gun, and then I kind of listen to their opinion. I might watch another one and gather that person's opinion. It could be the same, it could be totally different. And I think that, like you, myself, probably tons of our subs, they're educated gun buyers, and there might be some new gun buyers in the chat room. But I just think that, I'm an educated person enough on guns where I can go in and form an opinion. If a gun really truly does not fit in my hand and I don't feel comfortable of grabbing it out of the holster because it might be like the size of a Tic Tac box or something like that, I don't know if I'm going to be, really rapidly deploying that pistol in a situation where I might need it. To where if I had a compact or even a subcompact, a bigger gun, I would feel more comfortable that my hand would fit on it correctly in a scenario such as that. I just think people can buy what the hell they want to buy.
Yeah, I've been reading some of these comments, and it's very fascinating to read some of these. Sean was talking about watching guns and gear vids to do research before buying something, and also for education and entertainment, which is awesome. And Gilbert is saying depends on the reviewer and the nature of the issue. I think that's fair. I mean, I think we all have channels and reviewers that we really trust. I mean, I know I have some. I'm sure Big Johnson does as well, and so we probably pay perhaps a little bit more attention to those guys than maybe somebody we're not quite as familiar with for whatever reason. Frank is saying write off the entire channel if they don't like my gun. Amen, brother. Everybody should do that for sure. Yeah, and Aaron was saying I wait for multiple sources to agree on the fault, and that's pretty good. I mean, you guys are amazingly intelligent when it comes to this stuff. I mean, I always get this sense with you guys that you're well educated and you really want to get as many facts as possible. And I swear I'm not trying to pander too much to you guys, but I mean, I've gotten to know you guys over the last year or so, and you guys do seem to really know kind of what's going on and have a good run of a lot of different information sources on the different firearms that we talk about, and that's great. And I wish everybody would do that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think especially like with our, people that are always in the chat and always on our chats and things like that. I mean, I think it's great to have, especially if they personally own the gun, to really get, multiple feedback. Like, I've had this gun for 1,000 rounds, and here's my opinion right now. Things like that, and also doing kind of like follow-ups on the guns. I think that's a good thing too. And even like a gun versus another gun. And you might be thinking about those two. I think that's a great thing that I've always looked at too. And I've done a lot of comparison videos. I know you have too. If you could only pick one, you do a lot of those and do them great. And I think that gives people a really good idea. And even if they're not totally comparable guns, hell, they might be thinking about one that they didn't even know they were thinking about until they watched that video.
Right.
So, yeah, we've got a really good crowd on here. We definitely appreciate y'all coming on, and smash that thumbs up button, and also remember to subscribe to all the other people in chat. We've got some great channels on here and individuals, and we want everyone to go to their channels and check them out too. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. So Keenan Gilliam was talking about to Mile High Ed, the Q4 TAC. It's a Walther. It's kind of a PPQ, a newer edition that came out, I want to say late last year, early this year. I have to admit, I'm a little bit curious about that gun, mainly because it has a threaded barrel, so I can throw a can on it. but I kind of want to try that out and see if my opinions on PPQs change a little bit. I want to revisit. I held the PPQ subcompact again the other day, and I compared it to the APX compact, and I can't get on board with the subcompact PPQ. It's just a little bit too small, not enough grip for me. But it still felt good in the hand. Otherwise, those ergonomics, and I want to go back to that.
Yeah, and the Q4, man, when you put the MOS on the top of it, that thing is way up there. I mean, it's not, they didn't dig it down in the slide probably like they should have. And I know on the Glock, it sets high, but not as high as this PPQ. That thing sticks up on the top. Like, it's crazy how high that thing is. But, hell, I'm sure it shoots great. I'm just personally not a huge PPQ fanboy. I mean, I own one. I shoot it fine. It's just, I don't think it's another gun that I would run out and buy, so to say.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back to it because I miss those ergonomics between that and the VP9. I always liked both of them, and just kind of revisit. But also Q4 is something a little bit different and has a few more features to it. Razor brother, thank you so much, man. That is incredibly nice of you.
Holy crap, Razor.
I appreciate
That's awesome,
that.
Man. Thank you.
That's a beer for each and every one of you. I will send that in the mail. I appreciate that. That's compliments of Razor JB.
Well, hang on. We have 68 people, so that could be like a quarter or a sip of beer for each person.
It's going to be really good beer, I promise.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I've been to your house and drank your bourbon, so
don't tell Big Johnson, but I gave him the crappy bourbon.
He did. But hey, you know what? It was actually pretty good, and I had never had it before, and I was actually impressed of the price on it. But no, KS was very hospitable, and I appreciated it very much.
So everybody needs to pile in the car and stop on by.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and it was actually a lot of fun meeting Uncle Dan this week too. Drove in to Houston and stopped and met him and visited with him a while, and we had lunch together. He's a super nice guy, so it was a lot of fun meeting him. Boy, Emmanuel threw out there $1.99, man. Y'all don't have to do this. We've told y'all that. We appreciate it, but we're here for you guys and ladies.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's awesome. And by the way, Last Man Standing was a fantastic television show. I own the entire series on DVD, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Seriously.
Yeah. No, I love Tim Allen, period. He's funny as hell.
Oh my gosh, Razor!
Wow. Razor, come on, man.
Are you guys trying to tell me something terrible is about to happen, like I'm going to lose my job or my house or something, and you're trying to help me out a little bit? Is that the deal?
I don't know. Either that or we need Dixie cups for beer pong or something. Who knows what?
Yeah, we're going to get the good Dixie cups with the neat little pictures around them, Razor. That is all you, brother. But again, you guys, thank you very much. That is incredible, and it always helps out. I'll do a special video just for you guys.
Actually, we're going to get the 180 cups. It's the red Solo cup this way. You flip it upside down, and on the bottom it has a built-in shot glass. Those are the ones we're getting.
Nice.
Yeah, they're called 180 cups, and they're awesome.
That's good. That's good.
Those are fun cups.
Speaking of new jobs, Captain Phil's getting a new job come June. Congratulations. I hope it is everything.
Congratulations, man.
That is awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's, okay, since we're talking about guns and stuff, is there anything that's popped up recently that you've been like, oh, wow, I got to check that out? Have you seen anything?
No. Actually, that's not entirely true. Although you guys are probably going to be really bored by this, but I'm actually pretty excited. I want the new Scorpion Micro. So I've got that on the list at Centerfire, and they are looking for that as soon as it becomes available later summer. Because I just think that is freaking cool, and I've had so much fun with the Evo that I want to try the little teeny one. It's ridiculous. I don't need it. It's probably a frivolous expenditure, but I think it is freaking sweet.
Well, in my hands, the Scorpion Evo is the micro already, so I don't need an extra micro. So
gotcha. Well, how about you? What anything of interest to you?
There's nothing. Well, I've got a little. Guess what I got to put my hands on today?
I don't know, but is it appropriate for YouTube?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
But well, put it this way: it was another really big item I got to put my hands on.
Oh my God! Stop it.
Yeah, I actually got to put my hands on it. I got my hands, and I could have purchased it, an FK Bruno.
Really?
I got to put my hands on one.
What'd you think? Did you buy it? Did you buy two of them?
Oh, okay. Well, first I'll tell you about the pistol, and then I'll tell you about the price they wanted for the pistol. The pistol was incredible. That thing is a beast, and the trigger on it is amazing. The sights on it are amazing. It actually has a peep sight built in the rear, a little peep sight that kind of has like it's kind of like got 4 posts that come down to the small circle, and you line it up with the front fiber optic. And I was just like, man, I want it bad. And then I saw the price. Now, this gun store, I've been to it many times, and they are out of their mind on their pricing. They wanted $8,500 for this pistol. Now, I've seen them for $7,200, but they wanted $8,500 for it. And I was like, holy smokes. But it was an incredible pistol.
Well, $8,500.
FK Bruno.
$8,500 can mean very different things to different people. Of course, if you have money to spend, or if you have a tree that grows dollar bills outside your window, then perhaps that's not too big of a deal. For me, I think of $8,500. If somebody was going to give me $8,500, I'd be thinking collection of guns. I would not be thinking of one gun. I couldn't mentally do that,
Well, and what's funny is there's no one here in the States that makes the ammo for it either. So it has to be imported even for the ammo. And I looked it up. I couldn't even find a price on the ammo. I know that they make 2 self-defensive loads for it. One was like a 94 grain hollow point. One was a 92 grain hollow point. One was copper spun. One was copper frangible. But I was like, holy crap. I mean, the thing was really, really nice, but I was just like, $8,500, man. I could buy a cheaper classic car for that thing.
So Tyler Haas is asking, why so much for a pistol? So what makes this so unique?
Oh, well, of course, it's, pretty much hand built. I mean, it's one of those, it's a Mystique pistol. It's there's not any other ones out there. It is very CZ-ish. It's made in the Czech, but it is, you just have to look it up and read about it. I mean, it's a crazy pistol. The round, I did read a bunch about it also. The foot-pounds of energy on this thing is like 980 foot-pounds.
Jeez.
Which is like way more than a 45, more than a 10 millimeter. And also it was 580 foot-pounds at 100 meters. And I was like, holy smokes. I mean, that thing is a beast. But I've seen the recoil. Honest Outlaw had one on his channel, and he shot it. They sent it to him, and I mean, it just looks very manageable. It's just a cool pistol. It's just a cool factor. That's what it is. Thank you, Alaskan Ballistics. Yes, guard every school.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Alaskan, thank you very much, and definitely everybody spread the word on guard every school. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a VR out on that, and you can he's doing a giveaway on it too. Really, really good thing to have. And looking at the price on that thing, I mean, you could buy so many different items for that were more usable. But it was
So,
just cool to actually finally put one in my hand.
well, yeah, absolutely. The likelihood that one would be around here would be extremely thin. So that's really
Yep.
cool that you got to do that. So Range Randy is saying, I wonder about somebody buying an FK with that weird ammo. Really, why? And it's a great question, Randy. And I think a lot of it again goes back to, different people have different needs or wants and different sizes of wallets, I suppose. So some people, from a collection perspective, I guess that might be something that really is pretty high up on the list because it's hard to find. It's unusual, it's rare, it's expensive. So for some people, it's probably the way to go.
Well, and it's Collector Firearms. They're antique and collector firearms in Houston, and they have like they got a $12,000 1911 too. I mean, they have like these really, etched and unique. I mean, they have a lot of that kind of stuff. So it didn't surprise me that they would have one, but it was pretty awesome to just put your hands on it. Oh, and it did come with one 50-round box of ammo too for that price.
Jeez. So people were asking what the Bruno is. So I was going to see if I could share this, if that's even at all possible.
I was going to say I can't, but yeah, it's the FK Bruno. It is a 7.5 cartridge. It's like I said, from looking at it, it's a cross between a CZ and a Tanfo. Just if you can imagine that. And like I said, if he can pull it up, you can see a picture of it. But Honest Outlaw actually did a review on it too, where they sent him the pistol to shoot it, and it's very impressive.
All right, hang on. Let's see if you guys can see that.
That's it. That's it. I can see it.
So that's the FK Bruno right there. I mean, it's a very interesting looking gun. It's got some pretty unique lines to it for sure. I mean, it looks like when you're out of expensive ammo, you could turn it around and bludgeon somebody to death if you had to.
Yeah, it's a big boy, and like I said, you can kind of see that rear sight in the picture that you're showing. But that is like a round circle in the rear, and you just line it up with the front fiber optic. I mean, it's an impressive sight picture, for a pistol, but it's a beast.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff there for sure. Okay, now I need to figure out how to stop. There we go. All right.
You did it. Look at that, man. You're a jack of all trades.
I'll tell you what, I'm something. So,
all right, but yeah, we could move on. I just thought that was impressive and something different,
Real quickly, before we move on, though, how much was the ammo again? Logan was asking, and I didn't hear if you said it.
No, there was never a price on the ammo that I could find. I mean, I looked all over the internet. FK just gave the ballistics of the ammo that's available, but on the box of the ammo that came with it, the 50-round box, it says FK ammo. So they probably have somebody making it for them, but there's none here. So Tundra, that's not even nice. That's not even nice.
Scotsman, thank you. And Tundra, really, I'm going to send you to timeout. Come on.
Yeah. Tundra's probably drinking again.
That's pretty funny. So let's see. You're right. It's time to get off the Bruno thing. What other questions do you guys have out there? What other topics do you want to wax idiotic about for a little while? We're waiting.
Exactly. I know. I'm waiting for some questions to pop up.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyone buys surplus firearms, bin classic firearms, have tons of Beretta 2s and other firearms. Oh, Frank's sending Tundra to his room. That's probably a good call.
We are always going full idiotic with me in charge. So surplus firearms, it's actually a really good question. We don't ever talk about surplus firearms. Keenan asked that question. If I could find a surplus Colt 1911 from World War II, that'd be pretty sweet. That would be my idea of really good surplus firearms, but that'd be tough to find.
Well, I have some old, like very, very old. I have a 8mm true German Mauser with the swastikas on it. It was my grandfather. He was in the German War, a pilot. He brought it back from Germany after the war, and it's real. And I have a barrel, which a lot of people haven't shot. It's a single shot 32 hex barrel. A lot of people call it a chicken gun, and it shoots 32 rounds or 32 caliber, and it's kind of crazy. LZ USA has a question. What is Big J's 3-gun rifle scope? It is a primary arms 1x6. I just picked it up. I haven't even done a review on it yet. So it will be going on that. But that is what I'm going to be using for it.
Nice. Nice. Emmanuel is kind of, he's turning the tables just a little bit, and he's asking, does ammo go bad if I buy in bulk? Great question. What do you think, Big J?
Well, it's also how you store it. You know, like if it's in, well, put it this way, some of the surplus, you know, like 7.62 by 39 and stuff like that come in the, you know, the packs where they're set up for surplus storage. So if you can get that, I mean, hell, Pops has tons of that stuff and it's still good. But it's also how you store it at home. You know, if you put desiccant packs in it and stuff like that and keep it in a non, you know, so humidity doesn't get to it, or excessive heat. I've never had a problem with it. And to be honest with you, I even have ammo that I've stored in my old truck and then brought it over to the new truck, quite a bit of ammo, and then I've shot through it and it all shot great. So, and that was 3 years of storage in a hot truck. So, you know, I just think you just don't want to get it wet, stuff like that. And I think it's probably going to be fine.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. And then also in terms of like, does ammo go bad if you buy in bulk? I would also say if you're buying from a reputable place, you know, and there are a lot of different places to buy ammo in bulk, different big box stores or Freedom Munitions or whatever it is, you know, buy from good reputable sources, and typically they're going to have reputable ammo. And I would just suggest not necessarily buying the you know, the super cheap stuff that has a tendency to fail, even if you're buying a box at the local store down the street. And I won't necessarily name brands because I think we all have different perceptions of that and different experiences with that. But you know, if you're getting 1,000 rounds for like $80, I would say, you know, there might be something to pause and question a little bit. But just, you know, do a little bit of research and see if other people have had some luck with that. You should be okay.
Yeah, like Razor, you know, he said stored properly ammo will outlive you. And then Mateo is a reloader too. And he said if the ammo is properly sealed, it won't go bad. And I mean, I agree with all that. I've never had just opened up a box and I'm like, holy crap, it's rusted and corroded. And, you know, I kind of go back to when I was younger, and I know a lot of people in this chat can relate to it. Back in the day when we bought beer, there was no such thing as a damn born on date. Okay, now they came out with this new born on date, you know, hell, we were probably drinking skunk beer back in the day and didn't even know it. You know, but people look at the can and go, oh, this isn't fresh. And I'm like, it's not milk, it's beer, you know? So I don't know. I think a lot of that is marketing ploy too.
Right.
To get the freshest beer you can.
Tyler has a question about the M&P 2.0 compact. How does it conceal carry? Is it too big to carry in high concealment situations? That's a good question. What do you think, Big J?
Well, I don't have the 2.0, but I have shot it. However, I do have I guess it's the 9C. And when I carry my 9C, I carry an 18 round mag in it and I can seal it fine. And I've never had a problem. And 18 round mag is bigger than a 15 round mag. So, you know, I guess it's, if, you know, you have to put it on and see if it fits your body type. But yeah, it's no issue. You know, and it's not necessarily the barrel that's going to be the problem. It's going to be whatever's hanging out, you know, on the backside of it. So whatever works for you, try it and see if it works for you.
I would add to that. I would want to know what a high concealment situation actually means to you. I mean, I will tell you again, I'm sitting here in shorts and a t-shirt, and although I prefer something like a shield, just a little bit more comfortable, a little bit lighter, I would feel comfortable carrying the 2.0 compact. You know, as long as I had a darker t-shirt, like a black one, or this is kind of dark blue, I think that would be perfectly fine. It's comfortable. It's not too bad. And carrying in a good quality holster. I mean, we always recommend Harry's holsters. He does a great job. In fact, that's what I carry mine in. you should be okay, unless you're talking something that has to do with law enforcement and you are really talking high concealment where you might get, felt up by Joe Blow. That might not work so well, but otherwise in most situations it should be fine.
Aaron's got a really good question. I know you and I have personally talked about this. Aaron's saying, I'm curious if anyone else runs gun grease on their slide rails or just a light coat of oil.
Well, I did grease. I was kind of on the grease train for a while, and yes, that's a thing. And so I did put just a super thin layer and then kind of wiped it off. So it was almost more like a dry lube. For a while on the rails. I'm not so much into the grease anymore, except for something like maybe a 1911. So now I'm just use the Battleborn Pro oil, and I put a little bit on the rails and actually inside the slide. I mean, super thin coating, and not all the way across, but just in sporadic spots, so to speak, and that tends to work itself in really well. And I've always had good luck with that method.
Yeah, and I use the exact same grease. The oil. I've been using that Pro HP for a long time, and I really like it. And I do the same thing, 3 dots on the slide and like 3 dots on the inside rail if it's a CZ. And I've never had one problem, and it's never shut down on me. So let's see here. What's Tundra talking about? I owe Hunts for food. I don't know. I might have missed something.
I don't know, but he's finally learning, and I'm waiting for him to start harassing me on text message, which I'm hoping happens here before too long, because that's how we roll.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people use grease. I just, I've used a version of it in the past, and I would look at the grease afterwards, and I could see all the carbon. It was just kind of stuck in it. Where the oil will let it move or maybe even help push it out, but I don't use that much oil like some people do. So I guess it's just going to vary. It's something that they can try and see what they like.
Yeah. Mateo is saying that he got away from oils and greases for his carry guns and now uses dry type lubes. So I'd be curious to know a little bit more about what you use specifically. I know that the grease that I was using for actually quite a long time, for the first probably 8 or 10 months of the channel, or pretty close to it, was grizzly grease. And I still have a lot of it. It's fantastic stuff. And I'll sometimes put that, if I'm working on triggers or anything, I'll put that on some of the trigger parts, because it stays forever and it turns into almost a dry lube, I think, Mateo, like you're talking about, because you need very little. It kind of wears itself in and it disappears, but it stays within those microscopic pits of the metal and really just does an absolutely fantastic job.
Yeah, I've got 2 comments. One is asking about frog lube, and I don't use that stuff. I know 17 used to use it and he got away from it, but I'm definitely not a frog lube fan. But one thing I will say, and this is probably going to show old school, but on my ARs for the bolts, believe it or not, I actually use red high heat wheel bearing grease. It's cheap. You get it in a tub at Walmart for $2, $3, and it'll last you forever. I just put a light coat on the bolt, and I've never had any problems with it. Now, granted, I don't run my ARs like maybe a lot of the people in the chats. I know Razor and a lot of those guys have probably ran the dog crap out of theirs, but it's never let me down, and I've never had heat issues or anything like that. And I've ran a lot of rounds through them at one particular time. But just old school, and I learned it from an old AR guy, and he never had an issue with it either. So I guess, it works.
Yeah. And Tyler was saying that he's saying he's not as sophisticated enough for anything more than CLP, since that's what he's used to. CLP has been around for freaking ever. It's been around since I was a little kid, and it always has had a great reputation. So if that works for you, you're doing great, man. That's a lot of people swear by CLP.
Yeah, I still have a bunch of CLP. I've used it. Also, I have a lot of Ballistol, and I've always used it. Never had a problem with it. But I'm not a frog lube guy. I've had a buddy, a personal friend, where I could see the gun, and he had some issues with his frog lube. I know that 17 said he hasn't, but And yeah, there's a lot of dry lube out there. Like it's kind of like a graphite type base, but it's not graphite. But I've seen that. I've just never personally used it.
We have a fantastic question out there. This is actually from Casino Boss. Dry firing. We don't talk a lot about dry firing, or we haven't at least in a while. What guns is it okay to do versus what guns is it not okay to do? That's a great question. What do you think?
Well, I dry fire my double action and single action, and I dry fire all my striker guns. Now, my striker guns, I don't use any snap caps. And on my double action, single action guns, I don't really use snap caps either a lot. But however, on the back, I've been doing it for a little while. I put a little O-ring at the back, right where the hammer falls down, so it falls down on the O-ring and not the firing pin. And I've just recently started doing that. But man, I have dry fired the dog crap out of striker fires and never had an issue. And it could be going, some of these people could be talking about the 365 issue. And we actually spoke to the SIG guy, Harry and I did personally, and he, out of his own mouth, said, you should be able to dry fire a SIG, a P365 or whatever. I think he threw out 50,000 rounds and it should never have an issue. And he told us what the issue was. If you want to check it out, you can actually check out Harry's video on the 365. But, I've never broken anything in an old Glock. I've never broken anything in, a VP9 or any striker fire gun I've ever owned. And I dry fired the dog crap out of that SIG P320 and never had a problem. So I don't know. I mean, and if you want to use a snap cap, you can. The only thing about striker fire is you put the snap cap in it, you're going to fire it and you're going to eject it right out. And I know that they make little mags that you can put in there where it stays, and you can put the little bumper in there and all that. But, if you can't dry fire a gun, a reasonable amount of time, I'm not saying you have to do it 50,000 times. I have no use for that gun. That's what I do when I sit in the people next to me. Don't freak out because I sit here and do this. And I use my Mantis X, I'll put it on there and do dry firing and stuff like that. So if I can't dry fire it, I don't want it.
I have more or less a similar school of thought. And actually, Pop's Quest, hey Pops, was here and he's saying no need for snap caps on CZs. So I take a little bit different approach, and you guys have probably seen in my videos, if you've seen them, especially on hammer, whether it be 1911s or double action, single action, CZs included. I grew up being told never dry fire those guns, and perhaps that's old school wisdom, and I could probably get away from that. And I know other people do, and I've read countless forums and different things where people said they've had good luck with that. I typically don't, and I was at Frontier Justice one time not too long ago, and the gunsmith there is a buddy of mine. He was showing me a CZ, believe it or not. It was an SPO1 or a PO9, one of the two, where somebody decided to break in the gun. It was a brand new gun. They wanted to break it in, and they knew the concept of dry firing, although they were a relatively new shooter. And so they turned on a movie, and they sat on the couch, and they dry fired the gun the entire time. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the numbers mean. I don't know how often they were doing it. It could be tens, it could be hundreds, it could be thousands. I truly don't know. However, he went to the range. I don't know if it was the following day, following week, whatever it was, and he had a problem almost right away. The gun stopped shooting. It just stopped shooting. And so he brought it to the gunsmith, my buddy Sean, and Sean took it apart. And so when I caught up with Sean, this was days later, Sean still had the gun. He still had all the parts. And he brought out one tiny little piece, and it was just one little roll pin out of the CZ, out of the part of the firing pin mechanism. There are a couple of roll pins that kind of move or kind of work their way in there. And he basically, it looked like some tiny little animal had literally bitten a chunk out of that firing pin. I mean, it was the craziest thing. These are metal rolled, not firing pin, sorry, roll pin. It was a metal rolled pin. So it had several layers of metal to work through, and it chewed through the entire thing. And so it kind of solidified my belief not to dry fire those types of guns. Again, I could be totally wrong on that. Striker fires, I've never had a problem with. I'm with you, Big J. I've dry fired the snot out of Glocks for sure over the years, but other guns as well. P365 gave me a little bit of pause, and I perhaps am rethinking my dry firing habits and maybe not doing it as much. But that's probably going to wear off pretty soon because I enjoy dry firing firearms. It's a great practice tool. It's a great training tool. It's a great way to get the feel of your trigger and also work it in if it's brand new.
Well, let me say this. If the firing pin channel is not drilled out correctly, it can cause pins to break. And I'll just leave it at that because a lot of people are asking about a specific gun. So that's the problem with that gun. But, you know, and also I talked to Angus about it when we were at the NRA show, and Angus should know, he's the CZ guru. And he told me, you know, I asked him, I said, what about dry firing? And he said, most of the stress that's put on the gun is when you have it in double action. So he said, if you want to dry fire, you can just pull it back into single action. And he said, there's less, I guess, fatigue on the gun or on its parts if it's in single action. So he did say that, but that was just me asking him that. But I guess I should have got that on video too. That probably would have been a part after I shut it down. Then that's when I asked him about it before I even started the video. But yeah, and you know, there's companies, matter of fact, CZ even offers heavier trigger springs, you know, as an aftermarket thing. But you know, they're gonna break. I mean, I broke one on a SIG, you know, 226 way back in the day from dry firing it. So you know, things are gonna break, but you can also put parts in them. So. But yeah. I've never broken a striker fire ever.
You know, I haven't either. I've never had a problem a single time, and again, that's why I say my current apprehension will probably wear away pretty soon because again, I love sitting around dry firing. I mean, I think it's a great practice tool, that sort of thing. However, I've watched several people in the comments. Like Joker 3421 was talking about his SP01 tactical. When it returned from Cajun Gun Works, let's see, left me a washer to protect the firing pin from being damaged, which is awesome. But several people have shared various issues and experiences, or even seeing other people have issues with firearms. And I think part of that drives home the fact, and this kind of goes back to the whole 365 thing we were talking about earlier tonight. Every gun's going to have issues. Every gun manufacturer, every type of gun has some sort of issue at some point in time or another. Now, not every sample of every gun. You know, some people might be able to run thousands of rounds and never have a single hiccup, where somebody else might have multiple issues. And part of it is because it's a mechanical device, you know, and a lot of it comes back to how people treat them, how people maintain them and care for them, what they're doing when they're shooting or not shooting, like dry firing and things like that. I mean, all these different elements and components go into this, and kind of drives home that point of, you know, as you're going around and watching different YouTube videos and that sort of thing, you know, take everything with a grain of salt and know that all of us basically are running off of a sample size of 1 or maybe 2 or 3 at best.
Yeah, Mil-Spec guy brings up a great point. Dry fire the thumbs up button.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah, I do too. That's pretty awesome. Sandpaper. Hello, Sandpaper. By the way, you know, I was just talking about, you know, I dry fire the crap out of these Glocks with these sandpaper grips, and they're still awesome. No issues. So it's just a little testing I'm doing. So I definitely carry them, run around with them.
They're talking about my mom. What happened? Is there a thumbs down? Yeah, she was probably here.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's either yours or 1776's. Y'all's family does that all the damn time.
Right.
But yeah, I think that you know, I think people should do what they feel comfortable with. If they want to use a snap cap, hell, throw a snap cap in there. You know, you can also on Glocks or any striker fire, you can also pull the slide back just a little bit, you know, where you can put a piece of paper in there and you can still dry fire it, but it's not going to impact it. It's going to keep it just a little bit out of battery. You know, there's people that do that too. So if that's what you want to do it.
Right. So 1776, we've been talking about you all night. Horrible, deplorable things. But everybody in the crowd, not us, Big J and I are awesome. But glad to see you out in the crowd. Hope everything is well with you, my friend.
Yeah, he was on a tactical mission, so we understand. Sometimes duty calls.
He is training to
But
be a ninja, a New York ninja.
yeah, a ninja. He's going to be a freak of the night.
That's right. That's right. Well, so it is getting towards that time of the evening. So, Big J, what's on the plate for you coming up, man?
Do what now? See,
It's
Dennis is talking about curious. Did KB32 lock grips make you jealous? So apparently Dennis hasn't seen my lock grip video after KB's video. So Dennis, you might want to go check my video out. But yes, KB's grips look really nice. We always joke around. I love KB to death. We just, like I said, we just have a fun time.
Codas look the
Rich
best.
said I said, okay. Rich said that I said duty.
God.
He's talking about doo-doo. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure he is. So again, it's getting towards that time of the evening. So what do you have coming up on your channel, Big J?
I have a video of the P10C versus the Glock 19X. So I will be releasing this week for sure a video, so y'all might want to check it out. I think it's going to be a pretty good one. And some things that I've learned that I used to do really, really well and that I don't do very, very well now. So I've got a little thing coming out on that I'm going to be working on and talking about. And so anyway, that's kind of what I have going on. What about yourself?
A pile of different things. I need to do some videos on the new P10. I mean, a lot of people have been asking. I say a lot, like two. People have been asking for the updated the tactical P10 and the tactical P07. So I will definitely do those. I have the new SPO1 as well, that tactical version. I'm doing everything threaded these days, so I'm having a good time with that. I do have a Taylor and Company 1911 on the way. Hopefully that'll be here this week. So I'm excited about that. It looks freaking sweet. I mean, this thing looks cool. So I hope it shoots as well as it looks. So I'm excited for that. Some other gear as well. And I have one thing I was very excited about. I have a new tactical flashlight. It's the biggest one I own. I'm very excited about that. So I'm previewing that right now, right here. Ladies and gentlemen, check this monster out.
Holy mackerel.
This thing, I'll tell you, if I beat you upside the head with this thing, you're done, just so you guys know. So that is on the way. I'm not going to say any more about that. Insert any jokes you want there, but that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah, you need to check your size there, brother.
Yeah, right. When I opened that up, I laughed for probably 10 minutes and followed by a lot of, are you kidding me? What am I going to do with this? But anyways, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, you need one of those signs that say appear bigger in a mirror or something like that when you hold that flashlight up.
Yeah, right. That's why I have funhouse mirrors all through my house.
We do have a question. I keep having bullets smash into my P10C feed ramp and the bullets. I have not had that on my P10C. Have you?
No, I have not. So I would check your magazine followers and see if there's any debris or anything in there. And then I would give everything a really good cleaning. Everything. I mean, I would clean, a good field strip and make sure that all the carbon is out. That's including the extractor and all that kind of stuff. Run it for a while and see if that continues.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would polish, scrub the ramp up real good and see if that might be causing an issue. If he's got a bunch of buildup on there, it might be. So, but
Logan is saying that looked like a capsule of cyanide. And on that note, we should probably in the chat and just so everybody will wonder for the next couple of weeks if there was really cyanide in it. So, Big J, you want to wrap it up?
Well, I'm sorry.
You want to wrap it up? You're kind of dying there, buddy.
Yeah, I know something's going on with the internet here. Hotel life, man, you know how it is. But I appreciate everyone being on the chat. Great chat. If, like we always say, please subscribe to everyone, check out everybody's channel, and do remember, Alaskan Ballistics, with the teachers, that we got to get that squared away too. But I appreciate all y'all as always. Really look forward to the chats and having a great time with these yahoos that KS and 17 all the time.
Yep, absolutely. And I echo everything that Big J said, and we appreciate everything you guys do. Special thanks to the amazing donations tonight, guys. Really appreciate that. That's amazing. But it's always just good to hang out with you guys and chit chat. And we learn more from you guys than you could ever learn from us. So we appreciate it. We look forward to next Wednesday, 17. Hopefully, we'll be back. And we'll catch you on the flip side, guys. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Carry on.
All right. Thanks. Have a good evening, everyone.